Okay, hello everyone. This is the World Championships of Legacies Allure. Gravy versus Empire. And Negan's also joining me on commentary. Are you excited?
Hello. I'm very excited. Yeah, very excited to be co-casting this, especially with you, as we had 2 games in the tournament here, and I won
We
one,
did.
you won one, and so it's fun. It's fun that we get to keep interacting in this tournament, given how many matches we've had. Both players deciding to
Yeah.
roll 2 die instead of just the regular one. So.
It's very exciting to see this one in the finals. Double gas. I have to say, there's been so many arguments over this past season as to who is the better faction. And, you know, a lot of people say Sylvan. I'm not going to name any names, but maybe myself. A lot of people say Gath. A lot of people have said Iron Guards. And, I don't know. Does this prove anything, or is it just because Empire and Gravy are the two best players in the game?
I definitely think it's a combination of those two. So out of the top 4, we definitely had the top 4 players make it to the finals. So, well, at least the most experienced players, maybe outside of Patrick. I think he's been play testing this for a long time. But between yourself, Empire, Gravy, and Chris, you guys have been playing for so long that it just makes sense that you guys would have all the experience, the knowledge to get to this point. I will say, Gas lends itself to being very mistake forgiving. You can take some inefficient trades and have the pieces to kind of like make up for those mistakes, because most of them are all like combat focused, whereas some of the other factions have more support focused cards where they just want to buff up your units. So personally, it doesn't surprise me too much to see Gath make it to the finals, given the amount of skill that we have present and the amount of like mistake forgiveness there is within Gath. Curious what your thoughts on the matchup as well. Yeah, a lot going on.
The other two factions have a lot of tricks that they can pull off, mobility especially. Sylvan's got the Deepwood Sentinel, which extends so much threat range, similar to Tactician and Aaron Guard, and Tactician can also give like power boosts and stuff. Gath kind of has to play fair. They don't have any tricks like this that extend movement. They kind of have one that extends power, which is the Goblin Lackey. We'll probably see at some point be drafted, but typically they don't have these tricky mechanics. They play fair. And so it's very interesting to see how Gath operates, because I think a lot of this is they have a lot of movement attached to their creatures, so they have a lot of just natural threat range. So they can like put their creatures into positions where they're defended by their other creatures, similar to how you want to move your chess pieces in chess and protect your units. So I think Gath plays super cool.
Yeah, for sure. 100% agree about there's not as many tricks within Gath, but what they do have is stats. They're very much like a stat checker in the sense that if you have 2 health, you're going to be vulnerable to things like Dragon, Hatchling, and like the Warg Riders. And they might not have the tricks, but they definitely have the stats to support themselves. But I do agree with you. There can be some plays made within Sylvan and Aaron Guard to make really gold effective trades and try to win the game that way.
I just have so much threat range to worry about.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. We do see Gath v Gath here, so both of them, they're not really going for a trick style. However, we might see some coming out of these Vesuvian Warlocks. Looks like, if we take a look at the draft, looks like Gravy's going for a Troll Doctor, while Empire has 2 Vesuvian Warlocks. I'm kind of curious how that might affect the matchup.
It is interesting playing Troll Doctor first pick. Typically, Troll Doctor is, well, often seen as the worst hero, or worst healer, sorry. And because it's just so expensive, 6 gold for a healer. Typically, I find a lot of players just draft this when they need it to remove debuffs and things. Now Empire does have 2 Warlocks, One of the strongest cards in the game, in my opinion. And so I think that's the reason for the healer. He just doesn't want to get locked down by these warlocks. But even still, trying to counter a 5 gold unit for 6 is going to hurt a little bit.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a bummer there. I will say the very nice thing about Troll Doctor is it's 3 health, meaning that it's going to survive any Dragon Hatchling harassment, any Warg Rider harassment. So despite Gath having such far extending reach and harassment, the Troll Doctor is going to stay alive till the late game, and that's pretty much a guarantee right there as well. Unless the Vesuvian Warlocks try to burn the Doctor and try to set up a kill that way. I mean, that's typically not what you're trying to do with the Vesuvian Warlock anyways, but yeah, my expectation is that we'll have the Troll Doctor be alive into the late game for sure. But he's probably going to be outpaced by the double Warlock.
You'll notice both players leaving their front line open. This one is very sketchy to leave open against Gath. Especially like who's attacking. Like even if you are attacking, like Mpire here has to be careful what he drafts since Gravy is the attacker. He can draft a big charger unit to snipe whatever he plays on the front. So for example, this Trench Digger Goblin got played. Gravy potentially could have drafted a Troll Berserker, which can one-shot it. Not worth the gold value, but it is something to be aware of and watch out for. And then Gravy kind of needs to watch his front line as well. He does get first turn, but I mean, Mpire gets second turn. You gotta be careful.
Yeah,
be able to snipe something back.
For sure. The turn advantages is going to be pretty interesting to see here, because typically what you're trying to do is set up a gold effective trade with your first turn. That's typically the advantage to going first. If you can set up a gold effective trade just from the draft, your opponent won't have any actions to respond to that, and you can get a piece ahead and start doing some pretty interesting things there. However, if you're not able to do that at the draft, then you're always going to be a turn behind since you have to spend an action first, and then you can see what typically happens in some of these matches where we have more stalling out, trying to set up a gold effective trade by timing out your opponent's actions, making it so that they can't respond to certain trades, that sort of thing.
One thing I want to point out also is what Gravy is running in his kingdom, which is movement speed boots on Argog. Do you think we're going to get to see this drafted this game?
I actually really wanted to talk about the heroes here, because you'll notice most of Empire's army right at the moment is 4 health or less. If you look at Argog, he's got 4 power, so he's already got the Velocity Greave. I'm thinking that if he takes the movement speed, he's going to guarantee a one-shot every turn, which could pretty much be like a one-shot on a Warg Rider, like guaranteed Warg Rider kill every turn, or a Dragon Hatchling, which over time, over like the first 3 turns, could be a really big deal, especially once those pieces are removed. Gravy's own Warg Riders and Dragon Hatchlings could do a lot of damage to the backline here as well. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he has to draft it, because 3 movement is a big amount of movement as well, but I think if he gets that extra speed, he's going to start affecting things on both sides of the map where he might not have been able to if he didn't get that boost of speed.
One thing I'm worried about with speed boots is what Mpire is drafting here, which is Battle Fury paired with the Skorgs. And so these are a lot of damage and are very happy to just sit back and shoot things if Argog's going to come to them. Boots of Speeds will let him snipe whatever he wants, but he has to be careful that he's actually getting the gold's value worth by actually sniping enough stuff with it. I think with Skorg Archer on the board in Battle Fury stuff, it's not going to be worth it this game, but we'll see what Gravy decides.
Yeah, it makes him vulnerable. Like he'll become even more expensive. Whereas his current gold value, just being 4 gold, 4 power charger, is very efficient, highly gold efficient. This is an insane hero for just 4 gold.
Yeah, knowing when to like pool your eggs in one basket and build a big unit as opposed to going wider is a decision you have to pay close attention to in this game. And I think Empire's got some really high single target damage right now, which makes tall units probably a weakness. So that's probably something Gravy might be thinking about here. Trying to play around that a little bit, just go for more swarm, more opportunities to give the Scourge Archer less value on a kill, and then kill it a little bit easier. Which will be... Go ahead.
Yeah, did you see where Gravy's hand is right now? It's currently hovering the Black Dragon, so I think he has a big decision at the moment. He's played Black Dragon in every draft so far. Argog plus Black Dragon, pretty good combination, I'll say. So, do you think because of how the Scourge Hellions and the Scourge Archers play up in this into this matchup, do you think Gravy might decide to deviate away from Black Dragon?
Yeah, it's a good question. Because similar to what I said, you don't want to play like tall units. But on the other hand, Black Dragon is Black Dragon. This is another one of the strongest cards in the game. It is very strong, especially into a full board of units, because this means you're typically going, well, obviously very wide. And that Black Dragon's got that Flame Sweep to punish Swarm with that AoE. So, oh my god, we're actually drafting Broadswords on Argog. Wants to threaten that Hellbear, and I think it might even be a potential turn 1. Argog comes adjacent or across from the Hellbear. Maybe wants to take that first turn, probably not. I don't think it's worth the value. This is only 8 gold on Gravy's side with Velocity Greaves and Broadswords to the 8 gold Hellbear, but that hero is worth something even though it is technically 0 gold. The hero is still worth a little bit more. So I think we will see Argog drafted next or across from the Hellbear, but probably not going to see a turn 1 take. It'll probably just be a threat, and Empire's got to worry about that near the end of the round and just have to protect his Hellbear somehow. Looks like Black Dragon is coming down.
Yeah, decides not to. I think he's gonna leave that open as an option. That was really exciting to see that he has the potential to do it. So if he drafts both Black Dragon and Sword, he'd only be left with about 6 gold. So he would need to place 2 more units for 6 gold. He could do it. I also noticed that he was thinking about getting a Vesuvian Warlock on D6, which if he did, that would have probably been the most big brain move, because that might force Empire to try to draft a Troll Doctor, where he really doesn't have many options for drafting it. First, because of how expensive it is, means that you would have essentially like 4 support units and the Scourge Archers and well, more like 3, because this guy is more combat based with the Battle Fury. But having 3 support units is pretty risky. It's a lot of gold to kind of just have in the back line. Especially when you're going against this, against this aggressive gas style.
Yeah, I think at this point in the draft, Empire would be forced to not draft the healer, so you get a free Warlock, a free root on something, but opts for the Black Dragon instead. Really interesting how Gravy is drafting here. He's actually drafting pretty defensive. The Black Dragon's in the back, the second Warg Archer's in the back, there's a Grunt on the front line. Like, even though Gravy is the attacker, he's playing quite defensive.
Yes.
And I think the reasoning is because of that Scourge Archer.
Yeah, it probably is. It's within range to the Goblin Lackey buff, so Scourge Archer is technically threatening 5 power here, 1 from the Battle Fury and 1 from the Lackeys. So he probably just wants to avoid getting one-shot by that Archer potentially. The Dragon, however, has a little bit more health, so 10 health. So Dragon itself doesn't need to be that wary. It might also have to do with the Goblin Bombardiers being incredible defensive units, extremely difficult to approach, as from the back line they can move up 2 hexes and then explode a hex away. So essentially three hexes of influence from those units. So definitely a hard unit to approach. I do think that when you play Gas, you have more advantage from being the aggressor, because you take the trades that you want to take. Like you'll never go in on a trade that you never want to take. So automatically you can just say like, okay, I'm taking gold effective trades, and then once those frontline pieces are off the board, from Gas side, then all you got is like Goblin Bombardiers in the back, maybe some Warlocks, maybe that Gorg Archer. But pretty much once the front line is gone, then there's really not too much threat coming from that Gas side. So interesting to see Gravy go a little bit more defensive here.
Yeah, I think Empire is taking the role of the aggressor, and rightly so. He's got very many tools to deal with to do this. Like the Scourge Archer, as I mentioned, a big threat, which means Gravy doesn't really want to place that Warg Archer on the front line, even the Black Dragon. But we also have those double Warlocks, and Gravy only has one healer. So this means that Empire can be super aggressive by rooting something like the Black Dragon, and then end of round he's got the Scourge Archer threatening it, and Gravy's only got one healer, so it makes perfect sense that he's going defensive here. He needs to last until the next round.
Nice.
Wow, Warlock
Gravy...
drafted center.
Yeah, I don't. Essentially, Gravy is out of good spots for his Vestuvian Warlock. I personally like the idea of silencing one of the Warlocks and then using your Troll Doctor to get rid of any roots that come down. You might be forced to do this because exactly what your point was earlier. If you get the root down on the dragon, that's essentially -1 dragon for 2 rounds, and that could be enough for you to play an aggressive early.
Yeah, I think the root on the dragon is only threatening if the dragon was drafted frontline, because that puts you in range of the archer and all your other stuff. But I think if the black dragon just straight up gets rooted, well, he can't in this position anyways, but I don't think it's a big deal. Like, Gravy is a big black dragon player. He's played enough to know that you don't need to cash in on that black dragon value on round 1, round 2. You can wait until the end of the game and still have a huge impact.
I agree. Love to see the Warg Rider here. If it gets that +1 power buff from the Goblin Lackey, it's able to one-shot Warg Riders and Warg Archers alike. So I think this is a really good combination of units for 8 gold.
I do like that broadsword draft. I think it's very cool. It's only going to be able to be relevant against the Hellbear and the Black Dragon. But I mean, having that threat on the Hellbear to just one-shot it is huge. And it looks like that's what we're locking in. Opens up a path for the Black Dragon to actually swoop in and flame sweep, but then he's got to come adjacent to the Gravy's own Black Dragon. Now, Gravy's 1 action down on this board. He drafted only 17 actions, and he's going first. So Empire here has the option to take a huge action advantage where he can draft a full board. Actually, I think he only had 4 gold left, so maybe not. But he's also got the +1 action on Carthel currently. So if he drafts more actions, Empire's got that action advantage.
Yes, I don't see any grunt on Gravy's side of the board, so it looks
Gravy
like
has
he
1.
might. Let's see, Gravy has 1
on the front line on the.
Oh yes, but yeah. the draft from. So because he has. Oh, did he fill up on gold?
I think you meant Empire.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, the colors.
Gotcha.
The colors are gonna be. Oh, he goes for it. Turn 1. Argog take. No way. I don't like it.
Trade? Interesting. Maybe what he's trying to do is force attention on Argog so that he can move up with other units, but this is so early in the round. Like, I guess gold effective, it's
bad. It's not. There's this 8 gold of equipment for the 8 gold Hellbear, but the Argog is still worth something.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. As a unit, this Argog is probably worth close to 12 gold, considering the power and the charging and the movement. This is like heavy knight value.
Yeah, it's Heavy Knight without the extra armor and HP. So it's still worth quite a bit more than that Hellbear. But maybe Gravy's got a super secret plan. I just don't see it because of how defensive he went. If you're going super aggressive with the Argog, I would have thought you wanted to be more aggressive with your other pieces too then.
I agree. Oh, this is not good. Yeah, especially now the Vesuvian Warlocks can just start locking down the board, ensuring that Argog is killed, and then you can start setting up effective trades for next round.
Yeah, I think Empire has a great advantage here. He's got the action advantage. Well, Gravy managed to snipe one action, but I think Empire's still ahead by 1 currently. And free Argog. Not free, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I guess now it's a matter of like heroes. Like it's pretty clear that Argog was not worth the Hellbear, especially as Argog like can literally kill any of these units per round. So if Argog lives round for round, then he just gets so much more value. And that Hellbear was gonna die anyways on round 1. It didn't really matter if it needed to be the first action or if it could have been later on.
Yeah, I liked hanging on to it, just posing that threat, and then maybe you have a chance to save the Argog by using him end of round, and he poses a second threat to other 4 HP stuff.
Yeah, I don't know why Gravy did that. We might have to have a post-game interview just to talk to him about this move.
I mean, we'll see. Maybe it's like super secret tech, and he ends up winning because of that move.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to find out.
We're not the ones fighting in the finals.
Yeah, exactly. Both of these players are, pretty smart. They're pretty intelligent. They were able to beat all the competition to make it to grand finals. So, they both know what they're doing. My next question is, do we think that Carthel is going to be enough to win the mirror?
So Carthel doesn't have a ton of stuff equipped to him. The Battle Fury is the most threatening thing, but if that Scourge Archer ends up dying in the future, then it doesn't do too much anymore. Well, there are still some targets like the Lackey and the Hound, and you got some clutch uses where you could use it on a weakened Warg Archer or something. But the ability himself is just a Lightning Bolt 1. Just 1 magic damage going around, doesn't have the extra range. And I don't know how impactful the Spell Shock's gonna be. Gravy doesn't have too many magic damage. The Spell Shock was an interesting draft, actually. I'm curious why Empire went with this and not just another action. He would have had to draft that action across from the Warg Rider, but I think he had options to just put something cheap there. Like Spell Shock, I don't see it getting too much value here. I think Gravy can put those damage soaks on like a Grunt or something.
I agree. Yeah, I don't think it's getting too much value. Like theoretically, it's 4 damage per turn. If or actually it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's equivalent to 9 damage during the entire game here. So it'd be pretty interesting to see what
well, the healer heals a lot of that back too.
Yes. Yeah. So 8. Actually, -3. So it would be 6 damage. Yeah.
Gravy might want to use that healer to remove debuffs as well. That was kind of the point of drafting it.
I do like him for the Argog heal, forcing more resources onto Argog to ensure that it dies this round. But again, a tricky
puts your healer in a bad spot.
Yeah, exactly. Once you lose that healer, then you potentially can just get locked down by these Vesuvian Warlocks for the next couple of rounds, and that's not good. Not good at all.
This right side of the board is interesting. Empire decided to really aggressively move up that Trench Digger on the right side, and Gravy just blasts it with a dragon, threatens the damage on it to kill it next turn, which I think might be just a free take. But Goblin Archer is buffed up now. Maybe he's eyeing killing that Dragon Hatchling. He's got 2 damage on the Archer and can potentially kill it with a burn on the Warlock if he really wanted to.
Hmm. I like it as a aggressive pre-hit. Once the grunt is passed away, then on round 2 you can just hit that hatchling, and it actually I think it would be a gold even trade, right? Because he had to sacrifice. Oh no, he didn't. He just battle furied. Yeah, so it would be pretty gold effective there.
Yeah, I think we
Good
probably
have to be
see
around.
Empire wait a little bit. He doesn't have to take the Goblin Archer this turn. He will get sniped back with Gravy's Archer, so we'll wait a little bit. Carthel, I think, just wanted to get that +1 action out of the way so he could do a shoot, and it looks like the Poppy probably takes the Argog to finish.
Yeah, the dog takes, yeah, Bicolor Hound. That
Gets
does
the Hound
look,
up in a better position, does something useful, and we get Argog.
there goes Argog. Big piece.
We missed a Spell Shock ping, so Gravy's just keying that in now.
Takes it
Okay.
on the Goblin Archer. Ooh, is he gonna burn
Alright.
the Archer? Interesting.
Yeah,
So he's just
I like that.
all Empire's doing is he's just focusing on getting rid of Gravy's unit. I think he's trying to play for the late game here.
He's taking
assessing that
small
he'll be ahead.
pawns, which I think is very good to do because he's ahead right now. Once that Argog's down, Empire has a very slight advantage. He doesn't need to take any risks. Just take out some smaller pawns, and in the end game, you should be able to win because you have the advantage. That Argog's down.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with your assessment. Always interesting to see how the Black Dragons play into the math of things.
Yeah,
But,
Black Dragons, Empire will have to be careful of. I think Gravy is going to be looking for an opening where he can send this Black Dragon to round 2. Currently, that center rightish side of Empire's board is looking a little bit weak, where he's got the Puppy and the Archer. So you might want to think about that going forwards and protecting that a little bit. Don't want that Black Dragon to sweep in and steal like 3 actions.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like this
Definitely
Dragon
the-
Hatchling locking in one of those spaces currently.
Let's see. If we want to look at this a little bit more exactly, I'm personally looking at F4 as a potential hex for that Black Dragon to land on for this round, threatening a sweep on that Goblin Archer and the Vesuvian Warlock if he goes to H2. Don't know if that would be the best
I like it.
usage of the dragon.
I mean, it depends what happens on the later in the round, but currently that F4 position would threaten the space where the Dragon Hatchling's sitting for a 3-kill sweep. It also threatens this right side where it can kill Trench Digger and Warlock both. And it's still relatively protected, but we'll see how the end of round 1 shapes up to be. Empire might figure something out. But I think he has to protect this space where that Dragon Hatchling is. Something's gonna have to fill in that hole if the Dragon Hatchling wants to move.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to find out.
Yeah, if
Just
I'm
passive
Gravy,
from-
I'm wondering if I want to bait that Dragon Hatchling out. I think Empire is pretty wise as a player and he won't fall into the trap, but he might. There's a lot of things to think about in this game, and still a relatively new game, even though Empire and Gravy, very strong players. They can definitely make mistakes. They don't have millions of games under their belts like chess players do.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and there's the game is so complex and so deep. There's a lot of opportunities to make mistakes, and
yeah, I don't think we've gotten to a point yet where we've been able to play a lot of games and really analyze them and know what the good moves are in certain points in the game. But I'm excited for when that time comes. There's a lot to experiment with in this game.
we're gonna need a Legacy's Allure computer. That's what I'm hoping for. honestly.
Yep,
So,
AI
so that would
technology is getting
be
better,
wise.
better and better.
Oh yeah.
We'll get there.
I'm really liking this Gravy's Warg Rider on B5. Um, if it could move up like one more hex next turn, I think it could pretty much solo Empire's full left flank here. Looks like
Empire has
that's
a
not
lot
the
of
idea he's
gaps.
going for.
Yeah,
Yeah, he does.
I like taking the center. He wants to bait Empire out a little bit because in this position where I mentioned he's very frail, and that Black Dragon has a huge sweep. I think if Gravy can just take more aggressive plays, in the form of baits, even if Empire realizes those are baits, he can't do anything about them. Like, he can't move his units out of position or that Black Dragon's gonna destroy everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
Yeah, and
and
this is all a consequence of that draft, having such a defensive Black Dragon versus such an aggressively placed Black Dragon.
yeah, I think Gravy has to be a little bit careful about Empire's Black Dragon as well, of course. Doesn't want to leave too many gaps there. I think Empire will have some good Black Dragon sweep setups as well. Like this right side over here is looking a little bit frail. That Goblin Archer is dying, so there's not going to be... Oh? We might even see... Okay, there's going to be a heal. We might even see a round 1 Black Dragon sweep from Empire, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen.
This is looking very bad for Gravy here, because he can set up a guaranteed kill on the Warg Archer that just moved up, as well as the Grunt with his Dragon Hatchling and his Warg Archer.
He can, but that Hatchling moved. So now that Gravy's Black Dragon can move into position to take that massive flame sweep. So I think at this point, as long as Gravy just defends the rest of his boards, he almost gets a guaranteed triple kill with that Black Dragon.
Yeah, potentially. Be pretty good. I actually preferred that this Warg Archer go to H3 to hit that Warg Archer, because then you essentially want F3 open so that the Dragon Hatchling can come in and finish off the Warg Archer. It does make him vulnerable to the other dragon, the other Gath units that could come in and like one-shot the Dragon Hatchling. Or actually, nothing here can one-shot it. It would need to be attacked twice, which could be done through the Dragon Hatchling and the Warg Archer, which is what we see happening. Both players just going for like a straight up.
Ooh, the flame sweep.
Okay. Flame sweep.
So we did see the round 1 flame sweep, and that Warg Archer gets some damage on it, and is probably dead.
Probably, yeah. The Vesuvian Warlock is too far out to pin the Black Dragon. He's 3 movement. Technically, he can silence it, which stops the Black Dragon from being able to do its flame sweep ability.
I don't mind the flame sweep here. Wait, what?
I don't think that's enough value.
That was a wild play. I don't... Okay, first off, the just single flame sweep is pretty nuts, but I thought the Black Dragon would move to 1 more space so that he could threaten that triple kill, right? Like, Empire would be forced to block that. But something else on Gravy's mind just takes a single flame sweep on the Black Dragon, which is crazy to me. But he does get a lot of aggressive units up in here. Block cuts off the Goblin Archer path from this. So no longer that can be a kill, but we can kill with the burn.
Yes.
Oh, we're just going for a kill on the Black Dragon.
He's setting, he's just setting up a kill here. So round 1, he Flame Breath, I assume. And
I still liked the Black Dragon, Gravy's Black Dragon, 1 space further, so that he could threaten that G2 space. Because
I agree.
I don't think there was any downside to that. Currently, you don't have a kill on the Black Dragon.
On do you mean on G3 or on G5?
Well, yeah, position the Black Dragon there to threaten the G2 spot.
Gotcha,
Because
gotcha.
that's a triple kill, right? Huge.
Oh, that would be huge. Exactly, and then that would avoid the Black Dragon itself. And there's a little bit of vulnerability to all these Dragon Hatchlings, but you just assume that the Warg Riders and your own Dragon Hatchlings will come in to do some damage there. Ooh.
Yeah, I
Not
just
looking
don't
good
know
for
if the
Gravy.
setup's... I don't know if the setup's enough for Gravy here.
Yeah.
Like, he's got these two Warlocks still open to root and such, and that Black Dragon... looks like he's just going somewhere.
He just
Using
wants
the
to
last
leave.
flame. Patches up that hole. Just takes that. Okay.
Alright.
That's something. It doesn't take actions like he could have on left side, but I like the more defensive placement. It patches up that weak hole there.
Yes, we have to start thinking about win conditions, right? Like, would that help us to understand the board state just a little bit better? Like, for Empire, his win condition is probably keeping the Black Dragon alive, so that's probably
I
why
think there's a lot of options. Like, both players have a Black Dragon that exists still. Currently that Black Dragon's a 5/6, still pretty beefy, but with Gravy's Dragon alive, I don't know. Could be any unit that wins the game. Like, there's a lot of different ways to go about this. We still have Carthel doing Battle Fury things.
Yep. Yeah, Battle Fury on the Scourge Archer could be pretty big this round.
Mpire has a potential double kill in 2 areas on the board, but oh, I was thinking we don't want to move in yet because of the Scourge Archer. But okay, we're going in. We do have a healer. Offset some of that damage maybe. Or maybe this Warg Rider is threatening to take the Scourge Archer. That's an option too.
That was a lot of value Gravy just got. I think the board is completely different now. Yeah. Gravy just over literally just those 4 actions went from having like a good amount of his units dead, like to now controlling the center. I don't think when Empire has like enough actions to deal with this Black Dragon, and you said it, like this Troll Doctor is going to be able to heal the Black Dragon, keep it alive for a little bit longer.
He has a lot in range currently. Like the Scourge Archer represents 4 damage with Battle Fury. He's got a Bomber in range. The Warg Archer, a Dragon Hatchling. I think he's got enough to kill. I don't know what... Okay. I think the Warg Rider can nibble on Hatchling or Archer.
Oh, I would have much preferred a silence on the Troll Doctor here. Just silence Troll Doctor, move Vesuvian back. You essentially stop the Troll Doctor from healing for 2 rounds, which could be pivotal against this Black Dragon here. You also are guaranteed to lose the yeah, what did he just lose? The Steadfast Gas unit there, the Trench Digger, because I think what he was trying to do was set up a kill by hitting the Hatchling with the Trench Digger, but it was just gonna die to the Grunt anyways, so don't really know about that one.
The Trench Digger play was really rough. Like, round 1, we moved that guy up into a really aggressive spot, and it just got blasted. So I don't know if that was the play on the first couple turns, moving that Trench Digger so aggressively. But I don't even know if it would have gotten too much value. Gravy doesn't really have many archers.
Yeah, Vesuvians are completely off the map now. Like, no more mana on this guy, so big deal. Rider coming in, hitting
Rider
those
comes
units.
in.
I mean,
I think the play here is to shoot the Rider now, because Black Dragon's not that threatening, being only a 5/10 with no charging.
Yep.
But no, gonna go for the Battle Fury. Wants to take out that Black Dragon. I would have loved to take the Warg Rider here. That looks like a free Warg Rider, and I'm more threatened by that than I am the Black Dragon currently.
You can still do it with the Goblin Bombardier plus Goblin Lackey, so it's still going to die. It's just now the Goblin Bombardier is going to be
I
used
guess,
up for
but
the
it looks
Warg
like
Rider.
the plan is to take out the Black Dragon, because that was what he set
Okay.
up for. So I don't know what the answer to the Warg Rider is.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like going for the Black Dragon. I think that was a bait.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah,
Gravy still has a
Warg Rider,
lot.
Warg Rider might be able. Actually, unironically, Warg Rider might be able to do way more than Black Dragon. Even if Black Dragon sits
Yeah,
on the
that's
center
what I
of
mean.
the map here, the Goblin Bombardiers in the back are going to be able to deal with it, and then you can always come back with the Warg Rider to kind of knock it out.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Warg Rider's threatening something next round, and that threat is the Karthful. I mean, the Karthful's a huge take. And like the Black Dragon wasn't doing anything. He was sat next to the Dragon Hatchling that doesn't have mana. Yeah, I don't know. I don't agree, but we'll see. Like a lot of different plays from both players that maybe I don't agree with, but again, they're the ones in the top. They're the ones in the finals. So they obviously made some very good decisions to make it here.
Yes, both players in grand finals, but this is a lot of pressure. Like both players could be vulnerable to making mistakes here. So
Yeah.
I personally would love to see this Warg Rider stay alive for a lot longer, and instead of using him to just take that Karthul, I would like to see him like take, you know, maybe this Goblin Archer or maybe that Bombardier, and then take on Karthul maybe a little bit later, maybe on round five. That way you get a little bit more material for him.
It will be tough to keep the Warg Rider alive.
Yeah, that's the only problem there for sure.
I like this take
Empire,
though.
Yeah, on the Gorg Hellion, 100%. Yeah, that was threatening a lot, especially in combination with the Battle Fury from Karthul.
Yeah, no kill on the Warg Rider currently, so he didn't really need to activate it that past turn. And we get the Karthul anyways.
Get Karthul.
That Warg Rider doing a lot. And yeah, I think Gravy has a big advantage here with the rest of his board. Like, that just got taken out. All of Empire's key pieces are now gone. The rest of his damage is in the form of 2 bombs and a lackey. Like, the Black Dragon's there, cool, but he's just gonna get blasted. Yeah, I think Empire made a grave mistake by just going for the Black Dragon that wasn't threatening anything. And he lost so much from that. Scourge Archer's down.
I'm curious what's about to happen here, because how I see it at the moment is that Gravy has the damage to kill the Black Dragon in the form of these Goblin Bombardiers. He's also got the units on the side here. Empire's right flank. Yeah, still got the Grunt up. We still got the Dragon Hatchling, but man, I'm just curious to see. Yeah, so Grunt gets taken out, but that's in exchange for a Goblin Bombardier, which is a big deal as well. All right, who wins this endgame? That's what I'm curious about. We still got a Black Dragon that's 6 health. We have 3 Goblin Bombardiers, so that's equivalent to the 6 health right there. But still, Gravy's gonna need to hold the center in order to win this game. And what unit is he gonna use to do that with? Maybe Troll Doctor, maybe the Goblin Archer. It's still pretty close here.
Yeah, Gravy's definitely got the action advantage, so I think he is currently what I would call ahead in this game. And like I said, I mean, Empire just doesn't have anything left but the Black Dragon. And some small little things. Like, the one Goblin Archer on Empire's side I think is going to threaten some things, but as soon as that Goblin Archer dies, Gravy's Goblin Archer can just kill the rest of his boards. And I think he can do that very easily with the units he's got. Like, he's got that one Dragon Hatchling still open. And I think that will be the plan. Try and focus down that Goblin Archer, because it's currently the most threatening piece right now.
Yes. Yep.
And as soon as that Archer dies, Gravy can just do as he pleases. Pick off the rest of his army. Got plenty of time to do it. It's only round 4 going into this next round.
So I think this Goblin Bombardier on E2 is going to be a really big deal. I forgot who went last. I think that's the reason. I think Empire, or either I think Gravy went last, and that's the reason why Black Dragon just passed, so that he could try to maintain that go first advantage. Once the Goblin Bombardier or the Goblin Archer on D4 is out, then this Goblin Archer can do a little bit more work. But it looks like Troll Doctor just took up a position right on the center. Okay?
Yeah.
You like that move? You were very vocal about it.
So, here's the thing. Empire goes first. Now he takes the Goblin Archer, which is, again, a key piece. Gravy realizes this, so we're just going to throw in the Hatchling, maybe, to take out a unit. It's an idea. Just try and maintain that action lead. I think this is a good idea for Gravy. He didn't have enough time to go first and then also Dragon Hatchling the Archer, unfortunately. So he's gonna have to settle with this. And I think Empire's first move is taking out that Goblin Archer. And then he's got his own Archer to decimate the board with. So yeah, I think the way this past turn turned out, great for Empire. Because, yeah, as I said, I think Goblin Archer for both players is a key piece to winning the rest of this game.
Yes. I think this Dragon Hatchling could be pretty big for... Okay, so he decides to use the Goblin Bombardier now instead of just losing it straight up to the Goblin Archer. That means that the Dragon Hatchling can now die to the Troll Doctor here. It's got range 2, so it's still vulnerable. However, it can kill this Goblin Lackey. It could kill the because this Dragon. Oh no, I disagree with that move. Because that Dragon Archer or that Dragon Hatchling is now slow, he did not have to went for that. Instead, he could have just killed the Goblin Lackey and saved his first attack to kill the Dragon Hatchling later.
This is really tough.
Yeah,
I think I don't think he's gonna have enough time. Cause yeah, I mean, I guess for some reason I thought that Archer was gonna live, but the thing is, I think Empire just can't lose anymore, cause Gravy has 6 damage with those bombs. He needs exactly 6 to take this dragon. If he just kills 1, and that Lackey is not threatening center as well, then he can't lose.
I think, yeah, I agree with you. But I think,
oh, I don't like the pass with the Archer.
Not killing this Goblin Lackey was a huge deal in my mind, because this represents 2 power. Even if, like, I don't know, because all this damage is forced onto the Black Dragon in order to get it off the center, and then this Goblin Archer is always going to be able to outrage the Goblin Lackey. Whereas if actually maybe it doesn't really matter that much, the fact that he didn't target the Lackey.
I don't understand why the Archer didn't move up, because we could have threatened a bomb, but we chose not to. Like Empire's Goblin Archer could have threatened a bomb, which is what he needs to win, right? But didn't do it.
He was able to save the Troll Doctor by going first this round. Actually, that's
Gravy moved his Troll Doctor back. He needs as much damage as he can. Okay, Empire moving up the Archer now.
Big threat.
Like the subtle movement up. Let's see. He needs to deal with 2 units, a bomb or a Lackey, and then that Troll Doctor can only take 2 shots to make up 2 damage. But yeah, I think okay, 2 units to deal with.
No matter. Yeah.
Oh, he has a heal with the Goblin Archer. I forgot about that. Goblin Archer has the lackey. Sorry, he's got that
The lackey,
extra bit of text that can heal for 1, which is game changing. So that means he can outlast this these groups of 2 damage. So that Troll Doctor might be important to have that 1 damage available.
Okay, so maybe the hit on the Goblin Lackey was more important, because then that wouldn't have been possible anymore. I really, because having a Dragon Hatchling on the board doesn't really matter as much anymore. It's slow. You can always just take care of it with your Troll Doctor. All right, prioritizes killing the
Does this work?
killing the Doctor now. It passes, full passes. It's round 6, so no matter what,
moves.
someone.
And yeah, sorry, it doesn't block the Archer.
Yeah, so Archer.
But now he can eat. But he's not in the center for round 7.
Empire does not need to control the center, by the way, to win this game. He just needs to make sure that
he needs to be able to kill it though, and that's a 3 HP Troll Doctor currently. So this is a tricky endgame for both players that we found ourselves in, but I think. Do you want to cast your votes? I think this goes to Empire, but
I also agree. I think that Gravy ran out of resources this last round to be able to pull it off, but this is more of like a butterfly effect of all the things that happened earlier. Not butterfly effect, like I don't know, like a sequence of events that occurred from probably all the way back to round 2, maybe even round 1.
Well, I think a lot of actions that were lost, like the Argog was a lot of gold down.
Yeah, imagine having Argog in this situation compared to what we had earlier. Like, this would be clearly 1.
So this is really important to realize, like, action advantage. Like, I think, okay, do this. Does the lackey heal? It does not. Passes, goes first. Yep.
Ooh, that's it. That's it. That means that Gravy can't take center anymore. Empire wins.
Yeah.
All right, GG.
Okay, here we are in the grand finals for season 1 of Legacy's Allure. I'm Keith Rice, creator of Legacy's Allure and the lead designer. Here with Moonfasa, one of the best players in the game, and we're watching Mpire versus Gravy. I think it's probably safe to say they were the 2 strongest players in season 1. Moon gave them a good running though, so this is going to be an awesome final game. We just saw the first game of the grand finals, and since Gravy was in the upper bracket, he was allowed to have 1 loss, basically a second life, since this is a double elimination tournament. So Empire beat him in the first game of the grand finals, and now this is the second game, and whoever wins this will be the season 1 champion. So Moon kicking it off. Do you want to run over briefly or generally what each list is trying to do?
Yeah, I'll let them start their match. And both players, as you can see, are playing Gath. Very aggressive faction. We saw in the last match Gravy with the Speed Boots Argog, which is very exciting to see. We've seen a little bit of this in the tournament so far. And Empire going for a little bit more of a standard Gath. But both players running Black Dragon, one of the strongest Gath cards in the game. And I think we'll probably see another showing of double Black Dragons. They're very strong cards. Typically, Gath likes to run a lot of actions. And we've got the AoE to counter that swarm along with it.
Yeah, so last game they did both use Black Dragon, and I remember talking to Empire before the grand finals, and I was asking him, what is your win con going to be? And he said it was Black Dragon against Gravy. So would you say that that is an auto take? Like, he has to take Black Dragon against Gravy? There's no way to win otherwise?
No way to win otherwise is a harsh statement, but I do think Black Dragon is a big piece in this, just because of how swarmy both players are kind of set up to build. We can see on Gravy's side, he's already got like 4 Goblin Bombardiers, 2 Lackeys, 2 Hounds. There's a lot of small units over here, and Black Dragon is really a big piece to take some actions back and punish that swarm. Can he win without it? I don't know. That is a debatable one. He has another really cool combo here, which is the Razormane Manticore paired with the Skorg Sorcerer. So if the opponent's not paying attention, he can force a unit to attack this Manticore and straight up kill it. But Gravy's a very intelligent player. I don't think Empire's going to be able to play so many tricks like this.
Yeah, and that is the combo that Empire used to beat C-Dubs in the lower bracket finals. C-Dubs was playing Aurelia, and as soon as that combo was used, forcing Aurelia to attack into the Razormane Manticore, the game was kind of over. It was basically over on round 2 as soon as that happened. But I agree, that's the type of play you're probably not going to be able to pull off against Gravy. He's going to be able to predict that.
Yeah, I think it's been used enough times now. I've used this myself against Empire, and it's a really brutal one if you don't see it coming. But as soon as you do, you're not going to fall into that trap twice.
Right. So I noticed in the last game, the first game of the grand finals, Gravy, he kept a large number of 2 gold units in the back and was just using them to skip, and that's typically how he plays with this list. He drafts a ton of 2 gold units, keeps them in the back, uses them for action economy. But then I noticed playing against Empire, I think it was by the 3rd, maybe even the 4th round, Gravy still had all of those pieces in the back, and they weren't in a relevant place in the battle at that point. And I have to wonder, is this a situation where Gravy's strategy is kind of starting to trip over itself a little bit? Or would you say that he did play that right, and he should do that type of action abuse strategy again this game as well?
I think we will see that strategy again this game. I think where Gravy's faults happened were maybe some more subtle plays, but the Argog taking the first turn pick on the Hellbear was just not enough value in my opinion. He had another move where the Black Dragon did a flame sweep, and it only did 2 damage to Empire's Black Dragon. And I think moves like this really cost him. I think the action skipping is still viable, and I think we will still see this. The issue with moving them up, Empire is playing a pretty aggressive list, and it's difficult to move them up without them just getting taken for free. And
so
I think,
that's an interesting point about the Hellbear take, and for those who haven't seen the first game, basically Argog had Velocity Greaves and Broadsword, which means he has 3 movement charging, can deal 6 damage, so he could one-shot a Hellbear, and that is what happened. But I am of the opinion, and this is the way I design the heroes, mana ought to be used because the mana-based abilities on each hero are so powerful. Gravy did not take any mana-based abilities, and so he traded this piece that I guess I would argue could have been a lot more powerful if he had used the mana-based abilities. Do you agree with that, or do you think in Season 1 it is viable to have a hero that's not using any mana-based abilities and just kind of being sort of an extra unit, an extra normal unit, so to speak?
Yeah, I think both strategies are viable. Argog has a lot of powerful abilities to go along with him. I think just going for the equipment is also strong, and both for different reasons. Argog with Velocity Greaves and the +2 power, very strong, I think the big issue was just sniping the Hellbear round 1 and then the Argog just dying. What I wanted to see was him waiting on it, attacking threatening the Hellbear at least, and maybe he can kill it at the end of round and still save his Argog, threaten something else. But the ability is definitely very strong. Argog's got some great ones, like Reflex is itself very strong. Probably won't see this one in this draft because of all the ranged and magic damage. Interestingly enough, Gravy does run Swift Strike and Velocity Greaves both, and a big reason for this is that Swift Strike is just a cheaper thing if he doesn't need that threat range. It does technically have that piercing as well, but I think the bigger piece here is that it's a cheaper item to take in certain situations, and there's a lot to analyze there, but I think both are good strategies.
Yeah, great points. And I have noticed that in this tournament, the Argog players have preferred Velocity Greaves over Swift Strike. I think there was maybe one exception to that, but that's interesting from a design perspective, because I want both to be viable. But it seems like in Season 1 at least that Velocity Greaves proved itself to be the stronger card. Or if you want Argog to be able to charge,
yeah,
Velocity
the threat range
Greaves
is
is just stronger. Yeah, I think that Swift Strike is situationally superior. Like, for example, with Broadsword and Swift Strike, you can one-shot a Heavy Knight, which is pretty darn cool. But in general, yeah, we've seen in Season 1 that movement is extremely strong, because in this game, range, movement, whatever, it does become exponentially more powerful as you add on 1. Going from 2 movement to 3 movement isn't a linear upgrade. It's not a 50% upgrade. It's more than that, just because you have access to so many more hexes you can possibly move into.
Definitely, yeah. And as we saw in that last game, that 3 movement allowed for a turn 1 take, so definitely provides something greater. So the current draft we've had, pretty similar to what was experienced in the last match, but some differences. Black Dragons are drafted on opposite sides. Gravy drafting a more aggressive Black Dragon, so going to be able to threaten more stuff. I like the placement of this Black Dragon too. In the last game, I didn't like putting Black Dragon on F5 across from Scourge Archer, because this has the potential to get rooted and then sniped for a huge amount of damage. But Black Dragon over on the left is nice and safe from that Scourge Archer. He can get rooted still, but not going to get sniped for so much damage. So I like this aggressive positioning on Gravy's side. A lot of Goblin Archers being drafted.
Real quickly, do you notice any significant differences, though, between this draft and the draft in the first game they played?
Yeah, so the first game they played, Gravy was playing very defensively. The Black Dragon was more in the back. The only aggressive piece was that Argog. And in this game, I think Gravy has learned a couple of things from how the last match went. He's playing the Black Dragon more aggressively. He's even playing some more aggressive units like the Warg Rider in the front, which I think he's able to do now because of how Mpire drafted with the Goblin Archer on the front. And but I do like the Goblin Archers on Empire's side. He's taken 3, which is definitely not normal from last game. And the reason being, like, Gravy just has so many 1 HP units. Goblin Archer's a huge counter to this.
Yeah, agreed. And he also has Lightning Bolt 1 on Carthul, which I was a little surprised that the Carthul died so early last game. I mean, I guess it has to, because yeah, late game, Carthul with Lightning Bolt 1, that's just very, reusable ping damage to take out all of Gravy's one health units.
Yeah,
so,
it's very efficient.
Between that and the Goblin Archers, there are quite a few ways to kill 1 health units. Even the Searing Chainsaw of the Vesuvian Warlock.
Yeah, which can burn. I think both players are drafting better this game, which means I think we're going to get an even better match. Both players have learned quite a bit from that last match, and they've taken it to heart. And yeah, Gravy drafting more aggressive, Empire drafting more ping damage, but still the core of the decks are remaining the same.
So while they finish up the draft, I want to go back to the tournament as a whole. Would you, this is my opinion on how the tournament unfolded, I want to know if you agree with this. It seemed like with the three factions, Sylvan, Erengard, Gath, Erengard did a good job of keeping all of these Sylvan factions at bay. And of course, we know that Knights do strongly, they're a pretty strong counter into Sylvan. And then we know that Gath generally fares okay against Erengard. So do you think that kind of rock, paper, scissors dynamic is why we ended up with two Gath lists in the finals? Or would you say that it really just boils down to player skill, and Empire and Gravy could have potentially taken maybe any other faction and they'd still be here?
I think it boils down to player skill in this situation. I do think the rock, paper, scissors exists, and that's something to always consider. But I do think that we're seeing Gravy and Empire here because they deserve to be here. And if they brought different lists, I think it would be no different.
Wow. Okay. I think.
But that said, there's a big difference in skill level. Empire and Gravy, phenomenal players. I think it's difficult to get on their level.
Do you, on a personal note now, do you have any regrets about bringing Sylvan? If you could go back to the beginning, would you take a different faction, a different list?
I would not. I think that Sylvan, I definitely could have made it all the way if I had prepared a little bit more, made more intelligent decisions, and analyzed the games better. I think Anwin easily could have made it to the grand finals. For similar reasons, I actually think that the faction in this case doesn't matter as much as the player's skills.
I mean, that's what I want to hear as the lead designer, obviously. I want to hear that it boils down to player skills. It's not just a rock, paper, scissors matchup. So that's a great comment coming from you. And for those of you watching, I'll mention that basically the standings were fourth place ended up being Rat. He was playing Argog as well. He's the one who popularized the Speedgog list, which Gravy, I think it'd be safe to say that Gravy was influenced by Rat's Speedgog list. Would you agree with that statement?
I would agree, yeah. I don't think we've seen speed boots on Argog prior to Rat bringing it in. So, yeah, I would say...
Greaves. Yeah.
Yeah. Velocity Greaves I've definitely seen before, but the speed boots, that is a tech piece.
Oh, you're right. Okay, Boots of Speed is in the kingdom. I didn't realize that. Okay, and then so Rat got fourth place, and fantastic list. Probably just I shouldn't even say probably. He would agree that his nerves got to him. He's just not on the same level of player as Empire and Gravy are. But he had a fantastic list that, like you said with your list, I mean, could have gone to the grand finals, I imagine.
Yeah.
And then third place was the biggest surprise. That was C-Dubs. He was playing Erengard, Aurelia, and it was surprising that he got third because he was considered more of a middle of the pack player, not a top 4 player going into this.
The underdog, yeah.
But I don't think anyone can doubt that Aurelia is one of the best heroes in the game, at least in my opinion. You could even say she's a contender for the best hero in the game. But
I would agree, yeah.
Okay, you'd agree with that. Needless to say, though, we did have 3 Gath lists in the top 4, so I think that's worth noting, worth considering.
Yeah, I think Gath, in my own mind, I was always considered Gath to be the weakest out of the 3, but by a very minor amount. And then suddenly Gath, top 3, crazy to see.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to mention, just as while we're on the topic of kind of bragging about the game's balance, we did look at the 16 players in the tournament, and every hero had at least 2 players representing that hero.
Yeah, it seems pretty even.
And in one case, there was there was a hero represented by 4 players. That was Anwin. But basically, you mostly saw heroes represented by 2 or 3 players, which I think speaks to the balance of the game.
Definitely,
Wasn't like we saw one hero with 6 or 8 and then 2 or 3 that weren't taken at all. So I'm quite proud of that. I think it speaks to the game's balance, and hopefully we'll see that trend continue in season 2.
Yeah, look forward to seeing that. I want to point out what's happening with the first few turns here. We are seeing the action skips as predicted. I think it makes sense in this scenario. Just get down to the big, more important actions. But also, interestingly enough, Gravy drafts the broadsword in this match, but no Hellbear is drafted, which means this broadsword is only ever going to be relevant into that Black Dragon, which I think is going to be a weakness on Gravy's side. That's 4 gold, big investment, and it only has one purpose.
How early did Gravy draft the broadsword? Did you see that?
I think it was pretty early. I think he might have even drafted it in prediction of the Hellbear coming down. And this is a trap that I think players, especially new players, can fall into, where you draft a card because you think it's going to counter something that your opponent's going to play, but they see that draft, so they don't play the card.
Yeah, and that's absolutely a smart move by Mpire. I do wonder, though, thinking from the perspective of Mpire drafting Hellbear, why even draft a Hellbear at all? I don't think of Hellbear as a counter to much in Gath besides Razormane Manticore. So
I agree. I don't think the Hellbear adds too much to what we saw in the last game. Certainly doesn't add too much to this game either. The Roar is not going to do that much. The burn and the magic damage isn't really hitting a lot when all of Gravy's stuff has just maybe 4 HP.
Yeah. So it makes sense that Empire didn't draft the Hellbear, but then, like you said, Gravy did draft the broadsword, seemingly in hopes that Empire would draft it. And yeah, I guess I almost want to call that a small outplay by Empire, just saying, okay, you went that direction, you invested that gold, now I'm going to make you pay for investing so much gold in something that's not going to be highly relevant.
I agree, yeah. Empire is playing this, in my opinion, a lot smarter than the last game. Even the first turn with the Trench Digger Goblin moving slightly off to the side, if you watched the first game, he really pushed that guy up aggressive, and it just got blasted with Dragon Hatchlings and ended up dying for almost no reason. So playing it a little bit more cautious with the Trench Digger, I think great play.
And would you say that the Trench Digger is better this game anyway, now that Gravy has taken... How many Warg Archers did he have last game? Was it only 1?
He did have 2. He didn't have the Warg Rider, though, I believe.
Okay.
And the Argog was basically a sacrifice, so he didn't have this with charging either.
But just, let's talk about the Trench Digger Goblin. I wouldn't have thought drafting that. Like, what is the idea there? But besides the obvious that it has evasion, like, what in terms of the overall game is that contributing? Is it something that's eventually going to sit on the middle? Is it acting as a wall? Like, why did Empire draft?
So I'm not entirely sure what the Goblin Trench Digger does. It does protect against all these archers, but it seems like he wants to play it as somewhat of a flanker, or he wants to get it close to the back line, and maybe try and threaten these Goblin Archers and the lackeys, but I just don't see it coming in close next to Goblin Bomb and getting more value that way. It's pretty weak to magic damage, because magic doesn't care about steadfast or evasion. But maybe the goal is to just flank.
Okay. I mean, would you consider Trench Digger then a weakness in Empire's draft?
I wouldn't consider it a weakness, probably. I don't think it's amazingly strong, but it's 5 gold. Gravy's side, on the other hand, has like a... Maybe in this left corner, he's got 6 gold that isn't doing anything. Trench Digger can afford to not do anything for a while as well. If this gets to the late game, it is a pretty strong piece. If Empire deals with everything that is non-archer related. And we see that he did draft a lot of ping damage. Maybe he deals with the Goblin Bombers. And then in the end game, he's got that Trench Digger that Gravy just can't deal with.
Yeah, the Steadfast could be relevant in some situations.
Definitely, yeah.
I do wonder, though, you know, Trench Digger is 5 gold. That could have been another Dragon Hatchling, which is considered one of the best, I mean, probably top 6, maybe at least top 8 cards in Season 1. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. Dragon Hatchling's very strong. Geth just has so many strong single units, like Black Dragon, Dragon Hatchling. Goblin Archer is really strong too.
Trench Digger Goblin is obviously situationally strong, but I don't think just pound for pound, it's interesting that that's not another Dragon Hatchling. But hopefully we'll see a game where it becomes relevant and isn't just fodder.
Yeah, we might see that, seeing it's playing a little bit more defensively, but yeah, we will see what happens. Yeah, it's definitely got some weaknesses.
It looks like also Mpire is the one who's creeping forward a bit. Is Gravy going to be able to punish that, or is he going to be losing? Is it going to end up in a situation where Mpire has a strong enough position starting in round 2 that, again, we're going to see Gravy end up being the one punished?
Yeah, so the idea with the Warlocks is that he can take these roots, and then this allows Mpire to move up a little bit more aggressively, since things like Black Dragon are rooted, and then he gets in a more aggressive position. But Gravy still has a lot of aggressive pieces like the Warg Archers and the Argog, and we saw in the last game how quickly Empire's backline crumbled by him moving too many pieces up, and his Carthel ended up dying. This could be a similar situation where if Empire's not careful, he's got these very vulnerable back pieces like Skorg Hellion and Skorg Archer, really weak HP stats and a pretty expensive gold investment. So if he's not careful, then his backline could get ripped apart.
Good point. And did Mpire bring 2 Skorgs last game? Did he bring a Skorg Hellion and a Skorg Archer? I saw the Skorg Archer, but
only brought the Archers. The Hellion is a new piece.
Okay.
And it's an interesting one. It's very vulnerable to the Goblin Archers and all of the other ping damage, but it's good at threatening those Warg Archers in the right situations. It's good at threatening the Black Dragon as well. So we'll have to see, but it is definitely a vulnerability for Mpire, since he's got to protect them a little bit more. I'm seeing a location maybe where he could shift to maybe the left side. He's got some defensive structure built up here. Maybe he could bulk up on the left side and maneuver this Hellion around. We'll see where Gravy puts his units.
Yeah, the Skorg Hellions are high risk, high reward. I am concerned they're not going to get their value. I am concerned about that Skorg Hellion and that Trench Digger Goblin, but it is Mpire, so, you know, he might be... he's playing chess.
Yeah.
Playing checkers. Now, he moved, Gravy moved the Dragon Hatchling up. That now is a shield, so effectively 4 health, and it is in range now of the Skorg Hellion, so that seems like at least some value that Mpire could get out of the Skorg Hellion if he wants to take that out.
Yeah. One mild disadvantage to having both Hellion and Archer is you only get 1 Battle Fury target, so you have to pick one, and then the second unit does nothing for the round, which is okay, because one is probably going to end up dying, and then you save the next one for the next few rounds. But it does make his round 1 and possibly round 2 a little weaker.
I will say that Skorg Hellion is one of those units where if you position it well at the end of a round, on the next round, your opponent's probably not going to consider it the prime target to kill. They're going to do something else, and then you don't even have to Battle Fury it. If you've placed it correctly, if you put it next to some other unit, you can get another kill, or you can just do 4 damage, which is a huge amount of damage. So I know playing with the precons, that's a really effective strategy, and maybe we'll end up seeing Empire doing something like that, where basically he is able to get 2 of Gravy's units with a single Skorg Hellion, which I think you would agree is probably means that he's gotten sufficient value out of it.
Yeah, I agree. Positioning that Helion, very powerful. Like, now that the Warg Archer's moved up on Gravy's side, he can potentially position the Helion adjacent to it and not require Battle Fury at all.
Right.
And he's already got a
Yeah.
threat there, which can happen
mean,
now, because that
yep.
Archer's just moved in, the second one.
Yeah, he could absolutely set up a fork as well, but a lot of, as we were talking about earlier, a lot of Gath units have 4 health, so that is great for a Skorg Hellion. Maybe the Skorg Hellion was a brilliant pick. Just there's so many things that can die in one hit from it.
Yeah, I would honestly like to see Empire's next move to move that Helion, because this gives him the potential to pass all of his units if the Argog moves, and he just gets a free take.
That's a very good point. He opted for the Battle Fury, get that extra action.
Yeah, and it does look like the Argog's going more defensive, so Empire gets to pick what he does with the rest of his board, which is huge. Because he's got a lot of units still left to do stuff with.
It's the same situation. Again, maybe I'm just ignorant, but I look at Gravy's army and I see so many units that have been used for skipping, used for action economy, that are not going to be immediately relevant at the start of round 2.
Yeah, this is a big deal.
I'm just not convinced that that's good. I know that Gravy's used this strategy time and time again, but I look at it and as you know, and I will be honest, action economy ended up being way more powerful in season 1 than I expected, than I designed. That was kind of the defining aspect of the season 1 meta is action economy. But still, you can go too far with it, and I look at what Gravy's doing and I have to wonder, maybe he's going too far with it. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's a valid statement. My thing that I've been thinking about as of recently is how much impact you have on round 1 and round 2 with the amount of gold you're using. So if Empire is like going a little bit more aggressive this game, and he's fighting with maybe like 60 gold's worth of his army, Gravy's only fighting with maybe like 40 gold's worth of his army, and so Empire can take a lot of advantages because of that.
Exactly.
And yeah, it depends on, like, is Gravy going to be able to make up that value in the late game because he's playing more passive? I don't know. And I think in this case we can see how much Empire's taking here. He's just taking units upon units, and yeah.
It seems a little bit like Gravy's list is at odds with itself, at least in a situation like this, at least against Empire's list, which, credit to Empire, he designed his list to be able to handle these types of situations. You know, he designed the list to be able to counter and outplay a list like Gravy's, but just seems like Gravy's list or his strategy is a little bit at odds with itself, in the sense that parts of it want to be extremely aggressive and then parts of it want to be extremely passive.
I think the idea with the bombers going backwards too is the expectation that your opponent's playing super aggressive, and Empire very intelligently is not pushing everything into Gravy's face, and he's actually just sitting back and sniping units that come towards him and slowly pushing up, staying out of range of the goblin bombers, and that's a big advantage.
Now, one big difference between Empire's draft, I just realized from last game, is that he did not take the spell shock. So
right,
that is interesting, because it does give Gravy a bit more flexibility in terms of time. Like, spell shock is designed to counter passive lists and prevent you from just sitting back, using spells, waiting till the end game. You know, if you do that, it'll whittle you down. That's not a threat now for Gravy, so that's a consideration. But then also, what do you think of this Izabek staff This is surprising to me.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even notice he had that.
That's kind of shocking. I mean, that's a. It feels a little bit similar to the broadsword on Argog in that, you know, what is it relevant against? Like, it's overkill on quite a few of Gravy's units. It's not overkill on the Goblin Archers, but it is overkill on, you know, all the Goblin Bombs and the Goblin Lackeys. So yeah, what do you think of that Izabek staff?
I also think it's overkill just because the idea with Karthal is you're using Battle Fury in the first few rounds, and the idea with the Lightning Bolt 1 is you have access to it in the end game. And in this end game, Gravy is going to have mostly this 1 HP stuff, so you don't really need the extra 1 power. But maybe his thought process was, I want to counter the Goblin Archers specifically. They're going to come in and shoot some stuff, and I want to be able to threaten those so that they can't move up so aggressively.
Gravy took a grunt this game as well. How many grunts did he take in the last game, do you know?
He took 1 grunt last game, and it managed to kill the Trench Digger, I think, in the end.
So what is the idea behind the grunt? I mean, no one would argue that grunt is a decent unit. It's not considered an S tier unit by any means, but it's a decent unit. But
yeah,
what kind of role does it play in Gravy's list?
Yeah, the 4 gold 3/4 allows for just something efficient for the stat line. Obviously, it doesn't have charging. It doesn't pose like too much of a threat, but it's a sturdy body blocker for a while that can soak damage, and then it's a pretty big threat if you don't pay attention to it and it just walks adjacent to you. So it does do some stuff. Typically, I think 1 grunt is reasonable to run in a kingdom, just to have that defensive unit. And obviously, Gath has a lot of 4 HP units, but this is a 4 gold 4 HP unit, so that's what I mean by defensive. It's just really efficient for the HP stat.
It is quite efficient, and it's going to be arguably even better in Season 2. Because part of Season 2 is making 2 gold units weaker, which means the other low-cost units are going to be stronger. And 3 and 4 gold units like Grunt definitely fall in that category. So be interesting to see how that affects the meta in Season 2. But I would agree that even in Season 1, Grunt it's hard to go wrong with.
Yeah, it's a solid little guy. I think your analysis of Gravy passing so many units, though, is, like, so correct. Like, Empire's been able to just have so much presence on this section of the board, and Gravy's whole presence is back in the corner, not doing too much.
I suppose this is where I should note that I intentionally didn't play in the tournament because I would have felt bad by winning. But actually, I know exactly every single play that all these players are making, why they did it, and I'm just asking you questions to keep the viewers entertained, of course.
Us common folk.
Now that is kind of an interesting point, though. I am not amazing at this game. There's definitely lines I fail to see. There's definitely strategies that I don't understand, and so my role as the lead designer is obviously to keep the game balanced and fun and incentivize people to play lots of different armies and types of configurations. But Gravy and Mpire are both players that just exceeded my skill level so quickly. In fact, I'll just give a biographical note here. Mpire was one of the very, very first players of the game when I started playing the game online on TTS. Truly one of the first players I found, and he was also one of the only players that ever beat me his first game, like when I did the demo game.
Wow.
He just, I always in the demo game would make maybe one move that was non-ideal to kind of balance things out, and then I could play more seriously.
Yeah.
And in the game against him, I made that move, and then there was no recovery. Like, he just straight up outplayed me.
Awesome. Yeah, Mpire
So just from the beginning, Mpire was a fantastic player, and not at all surprising that he's continued to be a fantastic player over the past 2 years.
Yeah, he seemed to pick this game up really well, understands the deep strategies, and I don't think he plays like too many intensive strategy games outside of this. I don't know if he's like a big chess player or anything. I seem to remember
He plays a lot of like Twilight Imperium and things like that, but yeah, his friend Laro, who played with him a lot, was kind of intrigued. I remember him making a comment like, how is Empire so good at this? I always beat him at every other game, and he just completely destroys everyone at Legacy's Lore. So apparently something clicked with Empire and LA, which makes me happy. That's really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. This Dragon Hatchling move was interesting. Empire moves the Hatchling, doesn't expend a charge to kill that archer though. So Empire taking an opposite approach to Gravy, where he's actually going to use this Goblin Bombardier. Oh, he's not. Okay, I don't understand the play then. Maybe he's using the archer to kill it. I was thinking he was going to use the bomber to kill it so that his Dragon Hatchling's in a more aggressive spot and can fight some, like, of Gravy's bombers or something, as opposed to using these bombers passively, but that's not what he did.
So in G4, that is Gravy's Goblin Archer, correct?
Yes.
And now that is in position to kill, assuming the Warg Archer doesn't kill it, that is in position to kill two of the Goblin Bombs or the Skorg Hellion, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, I think I also forgot he's got a 2 damage Lightning Bolt Carthel because of that.
Oh,
it's a Beck staff.
That's true. That's true. You think Gravy forgot that?
Maybe. I mean,
the thing is, so if Carthel moves to F2 in order to kill the archer, then it could get flame swept. But
oh no,
yeah,
this is the same play from last game. One flame
yeah.
sweep. Now it's more relevant here because Gravy does have a 6-power Argog that he's probably looking to move into position this turn. So we can one-shot it this time. We need to
keep that in mind. We need to keep in mind that Argog is actually alive this game.
Yeah.
He was not alive going into round 2 last game.
Yeah, so I think this is a more reasonable setup where he can actually kill the Black Dragon. But I think... I mean, Gravy's got to take some value at some point. I think in the last game, Empire maybe mistakenly went for the Black Dragon kill when it was out of mana, and Black Dragon, it's a big 5/10, that's a big unit to worry about in the late game, but in the present moment it doesn't really do that much, doesn't threaten a lot.
So I also want to note that kind of how I was making the point that Gravy has a lot of these units that aren't relevant because they've been action skipping, so at the start of the 3rd round they're not going to be highly relevant to the battle. That is kind of the case also with Empire's Trench Digger Goblin. It can do nothing next round. So it's also this piece that's just dead weight basically. It's just gonna move or skip and that's it.
Yeah, and I don't think it poses too much a threat in the late game when Gravy's got these Goblin Bombers to finish it, but yeah, typically the idea with Trench Digger is it's a late game thing that your opponent needs to worry about. If they only have archers left alive, they can't deal with it.
Now I will say that you want those Goblin Bombs to hit something. So, why not a Trench Digger Goblin versus your Black Dragon or your Wargs or even Carthel?
Yeah.
The Goblin Bombs very, very rarely survive to the into the game. They're pretty much always expended. They have to go into something.
Especially with Goblin Archer still alive in this game, poses a big threat to those Goblin Bombers. Empire has a really nice one set up on the left side. It's threatening so much.
Yeah, and he has that other one in the bottom A1 corner. It's going to come out eventually, and that's one of the cool things about Legacy's lore. I mean, the middle or the early and mid and end game are so different, and by the time you get to the end game, units that felt irrelevant, almost like you just drafted them because, well, I needed more actions or whatever, or I needed the utility, all of a sudden wow, that matters. Like last game, Troll Doctor, forget that it's a healer. That's a 2 range, 1 damage pinger. That was super relevant.
Ooh, I don't like this move from Empire. Moves the Carthel. I really liked lightning bolting the archer and then full passing, and then you can just bash black dragons. Because now Empire's in a position where if he makes a move, his black dragon's dead. And if he doesn't make a move, that goblin archer's still alive for no reason, really.
So, you want Empire to attack Gravy's black dragon with his black dragon?
Yeah, it's expended its use, and it's being threatened by the Argog. It's gonna continue to be threatened by the Argog in this game, so why not just expend its use? It still survives on 1 HP, and you deal 5 damage to his dragon. But in that scenario, I wanted the archer to be dead too, so he wouldn't have a clean answer to it.
Gravy does have his Troll Doctor, though, so he could bring...
That's true.
Yeah, I understand that reasoning. So,
yeah,
okay, who's going first now?
I think Empire, he passed with the Warg Archer. So,
Okay.
He could bash with Black Dragon here. And that would, I guess that would force a heal or something. Now he's going to retreat. I really like just bashing. It's going to be really difficult to get this Black Dragon back into a position where it can hit something.
I'm not certain I agree with you on that play. I understand your reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
This goes back to my general aversion toward taking retaliation damage this early in the game. You could be right, though. Maybe that was a misplay.
So, this definitely can pay off if Empire manages to deal with that Argog. But as long as Argog's alive, it poses a one-shot on our Black Dragon, and I guess I just don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, there you go.
Bam,
So
Archer
that's
comes in and
Hellion.
snipes the Helion. I just don't see why that had to happen. That Archer could have been dead. I mean, there was 2 opportunities to kill it. There was 3 opportunities to kill it, and Empire decided, nope, I want my Helion to die instead.
I am not surprised that happened. I kind of saw that coming from last game, but Empire maybe has something up his sleeve that we're not grasping, we're not understanding.
It's possible. Yeah. On paper, it looks like an awful decision, but we'll see what he's got. Seems like he's gonna have to use whatever action he would have used last round to have to kill it this round. So, looking to use that Dragon Hatchling. I don't know what it wants to hit. Those bombers are getting a little bit scarier now. Okay, gonna sack a bomber. And Argog just gonna snipe that, which protects the dragon, Empire's Black Dragon. It's not under threat of the Argog this turn. That's good news, I suppose. But don't like losing a Dragon Hatchling for free. I think he probably could have used it.
So it's interesting to look at their graveyards. Empire has lost a lot of lower value units, a lot of mana based units, whereas Gravy has lost... He's lost 2 Dragon Hatchlings, but he's also lost all of his wargs.
Yeah, all of the wargs.
I'm wondering how reliant Gravy was going to be on those wargs, because, for example, the Warg Rider is a fantastic counter to Carthel. That's one of the few units that, actually I guess it's the only unit that Gravy has other than Argog that can just one-shot Carthel.
Yeah. And a little bit more relevant this game because the Carthels got quite a sting with that Izubek staff. That's 3 range, 2 damage still. And yeah, it looks like Argog's probably the only answer remaining for him.
Yeah, and this is nice because Carthel can do 2 damage to the Black Dragon and then just move away with the combinable. Now it's out of range
Yeah.
of the Argog.
Still has to worry about that Goblin Archer, though.
Yeah. I mean, what is... let's say that the Goblin Archer kills... Well, you know, Empire could even just use the Goblin Lackey to heal the Black Dragon to use it up, or do you think that would be a really poor play?
I think it would be poor unless there was something very valuable that we wanted to just leave this Archer alive for. But just sacrificing 2 gold to heal, that's a really great surprise that you can use on your opponent if they're calculating that they have a kill, but then you have that heal. But I think just using it when you're not being threatened is quite expensive, because you lose an action, you lose 2 gold. It's pretty huge. But
I think losing the action is relevant, but how relevant will it be in the late game if one player has a lot more actions than the other?
it can be relevant, especially when you're trying to take center. But typically, yeah, those actions are more important on the first couple of rounds than they are in the end.
Right. And the Troll Doctor also, I just noticed, only has 1 heal left. So that is a highly... Whatever gets healed, I'm going to venture to say is probably what Gravy is going to treat as his win con and take into the end of the game. So it'll be interesting to see whether he chooses to heal Argog or the Black Dragon.
Yeah, what would be a good pick? I like healing Argog, just because, again, he's posing that threat to that Black Dragon to one-shot it, and yeah, if you can get the Argog in close and soak up a little bit of damage and threaten that Black Dragon, that's a good win con.
Yep, and there you go. Carthol killed the archer he wanted.
Yep, could have done that last round, I think, but... Alright, we'll sacrifice the Helion. Rest in peace.
Now, I have to admit, now that the Empire's Black Dragon is at 6 health, that Argog is highly relevant. Maybe we're going to be thinking, okay, good thing he took the broadsword.
Yeah, that could happen. Yeah, I think, like I said, I still, now in this board position, I still even more so think I wanted that Black Dragon to hit the other Black Dragon. Dish out that damage.
Do you think part of the reason that play was a good idea is that Gravy had the intention of getting Empire's Black Dragon to 4 damage? Like, basically,
yeah.
Do you think Gravy was just fully aware, I just need to get that Black Dragon to 4 damage, and that's why he was even willing to sacrifice so many of his Warg Archers and other units to make that happen?
Yeah, I definitely think that was the plan. I mean, the only reason to drafting the broadsword possibly was the Black Dragon, because nothing else on Empire's side had 6 HP or like higher than 4. So yeah, I definitely think he's been trying to set that up, and yeah, that's the reason I wanted to straight hit, because it just takes away that relevancy of the Argog. But now we constantly have to run this Black Dragon away and try and kite this Argog, and it's going to be really difficult. And Gravy's looking like he's in a really good position.
Yeah, yeah. Now it's looking like a standoff, and I think that Gravy can win that standoff.
Depends. This Trench Digger might have relevancy.
That's
if we
true,
can...
but don't forget the Black Dragon does have 2 more, has another Flame Sweep on it. So you only need a Goblin Bomb and the Flame Sweep to deal with the Trench Digger.
Yeah, so we have to try and figure out how to deal with those bombs. The Grunt too.
Also, yeah, I legitimately think this Grunt is gonna do work.
Yeah, the Grunt can threaten that Trench Digger still. This is going to be tough for Empire. Gravy's got 2 big units left alive. 2 2 bombs. The grunt is still very, very threatening now.
Now, let's also know Empire is the defender again.
Yeah,
That's, I think, in his favor. Would you agree?
definitely. Especially since in order to kill the trench digger, you have to step adjacent to it in flame sweep, so you're not able to capture center by doing that move. So that could be relevant. Okay. Black Dragon kiting a little bit more. We do still have that back pocket heal. Goblin Lackey can heal Black Dragon in the event that Argog is threatening. But I think if we just go in the standoff position and skirt units around, Gravy wins. Because he's got enough to finish. So Empire needs to think about how he's going to put the pressure on. And it doesn't look
I mean,
like he's doing too much.
why not use the Goblin Lackey to heal the Black Dragon? Then you can't get a clean kill with Argog.
I didn't mind it this turn, just because you're in a position where Gravy can move Argog in, and you have very limited resources to actually try and take the pressure off. But there's an Goblin Archer on Gravy's side that can shoot for 1, and then that's wasted.
I wonder if... Oh, I thought the Warg Archer was possibly gonna attack the Grunt, and then if the Grunt... No, never mind. Okay. Was there even any need on Empire's part to kind of move his units around? Couldn't he have just kind of sat there? What is it?
Could have sat there, didn't have to... I don't... I think he's trying to use that Lackey as a heal, but he wants to keep it as an action for now.
Yep.
So I think that's why he's trying to protect it a little bit more. Because, yeah, it could have been in a more aggressive position. But then maybe that Grunt steps adjacent to it and threatens it. Okay. So we've repositioned.
I'm in. This is opening it up for a... Yeah, that was...
This is big.
Yeah, that was a misplay by Empire.
Yeah.
He has a fork now.
Yeah. Forking that Carthel or the Grunt. Not good. And yeah, it's too much of a downside that we have to protect this dragon constantly when it's really not doing anything for us. And yeah.
I have to think that was a misplay to put the Carthel there.
Definitely was, yeah. I think he played around the Grunt stepping adjacent to the Lackey, but for some reason didn't do it with the Carthel. And he wants to save that Carthel. Okay. Technically sets up a kill, I guess.
So again, last round, what we just saw could have been prevented if he had used the Lackey to just heal the dragon.
Yeah, could have been prevented with the heal. Gravy would have had to spend a few more actions Goblin Archering, and then we had more time to save it.
So Argog will die. Will he die from the Lackey though, because the Flame Sweep is still up and the Goblin Archer is still up?
Yeah, so the Lackey would be the ideal take, but I think we can probably expect Archer to take it just to stay a bit safer.
He has to save this Trench Digger Goblin now. He can't afford to lose that.
Oh, never mind.
Okay, he is really banking on this Carthel to bring it home.
Yeah.
He's trying to get everything down within kill range of the Carthel or the Warg Archer.
Looks like it.
That play doesn't make any sense. Attacking.
I'm not sure about it
Archer.
either. The weakness to the Trench Digger staying alive is he does still have 1 bomb alive, so we can always probably kill it.
I I think actually no. If Gravy goes that direction, I think he might still have enough meat on the board to win just by sitting on the middle.
Yeah, I think so
Because
too.
the Troll Doctor having 3 health is so relevant.
Yeah, and that was relevant last game too. I think 3 is a big number. But this Grunt looking to step adjacent to the Carthel again, and this means that the Wargarcher can't move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he can't take the Argog or he loses Carthel, so this is a great move by Gravy. Just
Yep.
seals the game, I think.
Yep, I agree.
Oh, actually, that Lackey can just kill. What? I don't know why I didn't see that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm thinking of the Black Dragon Flame Sweep still being up,
Yeah.
because Gravy can save that as his last action. Oh, okay. Not expecting that.
Goes in. I can see the idea with this. He's going to shoot it with the Goblin Archer and then threaten another Goblin Archer shot on round 6. Empire's really concerned with this Carthel going first, because otherwise it just dies. So he's probably got to take his first action next round using that Carthel, and then the Warg Archer dies to the Archer. So I think this is solid. I mean, Gravy has so much more than Empire right now. He can bully him a little bit and just win sooner.
I feel like Empire probably could have won this if he had killed that Goblin Archer that we were talking
That
about
Archer,
earlier.
yeah, he's 4 gold down in this game for no reason.
Or even, I do wonder about the Goblin Lackey being used to heal the Black Dragon last round.
Yeah, that could have done something. I think in this current board state, it wouldn't have been enough. Gravy just has too much. But yeah, that plus the Helion save.
Well, you know, Argog would have died on retaliation if Gravy had still attacked, but
Well,
yeah,
he would
I
have.
don't know. He probably would have gotten another ping damage on, and
Yeah, he's got the Goblin Archer active, so he can just negate that one.
yeah.
heal.
All right, so that wasn't where the game was lost. You'd say it was probably more lost back when Empire just let that Goblin Archer
Yeah.
stay alive.
The Helion was a big mistake, I would say. I still think that one play where the Black Dragons were adjacent to each other, Empire could have slapped, and then it reduces the value of Argog.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way to win this.
Yeah, unfortunately not. He's gonna try and kill the Black Dragon, which he can do, but he doesn't have enough to take center and also defend, because Gravy with that one extra action is gonna be able to take his last action to heal or take center. I think Gravy can probably even pass. Make Empire... Oh no, he wants Empire to go first. Yeah. Right. So yeah, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, this is just game over. Empire's thinking about it. He's got 2 minutes, so he's pretty stressed on thoughts, but I don't think it's relevant. Gravy actually just gonna pass and take that action. And now Empire can't do anything. He takes center, the Goblin Bomb explodes, and Troll Doctor takes the center. And that's gonna be game. So first match, Empire won. But second one, it is a double elimination, so Gravy got a second chance since he has never lost this tournament prior. And he's going to take the victory, it looks like. So big congrats to Gravy.
So Gravy was claiming that the first game of the Grand Finals, he made that wild play with Argog into the Hellbear, partly because, well, I know I have another game and I just want to see how I played out. Do you think that was actually the case?
I think I think it could be the case. I think Gravy's a smart enough player to realize that was a dumb play. But
I I'd like to think that Gravy decided to give the people a spectacle and make it
yeah,
go to a second game. So I'm gonna choose to believe that he kind of intentionally caused that. But anyway, congratulations to Gravy, the Season 1 champion of Legacy's Lore, and congratulations to Empire 2nd place, C-Dubs 3rd place, Rat 4th place. Awesome
Yeah.
conclusion to the season, and we're excited for you all to join us in Season 2.
look forward to it.
Alright, thanks, Moon.
Okay, see you guys later.
It is I, Carthul, the most powerful caster, returning for the final bit of casting in the Legacy's Allure Season 1 Championships. Congratulations to Gravy for his victory. And thank you to Moonfasa and Keith for their insightful and excellent commentary. I, Carthul, will see you all in Season 2. Stay tuned to the Legacy's Allure YouTube channel, website, and Discord for all information on upcoming tournaments, videos, and expansions. Craig, do you have anything you would like to say at the end of the video? Wise as always, my steadfast friend. And with that, I bid you farewell.